The ex-Home Secretary took part in a TV debate with a student after confronting pro-Palestine protesters camping at Cambridge. Suella Braverman was involved in a tense clash with a pro-Palestine student over protests at university. The former Home Secretary defended Israel during the GB News debate with Ms Lali, National Campaigns Coordinator for the Revolutionary Commune. But Ms Lali accused the Tory MP of being a war criminal as she hit her. It comes after Mrs Braverman yesterday headed to Cambridge University and attempted to engage with pro-Palestine activists camped on a lawn outside. Ms Lali said, "The only thing that is detached is your views and your approach to this situation and the whole of the Tory government. The student protesters are very attached to what is happening in Palestine and they are doing what they can in order to stop universities, who provide £450 million to the Israeli state and military, rather than investing in their own education. You are the one and your government is completely out of touch with what the majority of Britons think about what's happening. The majority do not support what Israel is doing and actually want us to stop sending." Mrs Braverman pressed her on what her view is of terror group Hamas. Ms Lali replied, "I don't want to talk about Hamas. The reason you want to talk about Hamas is because you want to keep justifying spending more money for Israel." Sunak was talking about increasing defense spending to 2.5%. They want to spend loads of money on that but no money on the NHS, no money on education. You want to cut pensions, cut council budgets. That's what the government you support is doing, which is causing serious suffering in this country. Mrs Braverman put it to her that the pro-Palestine protests at universities were anti-conservative. Ms Lali said, "Of course we're anti-conservative because the Conservative government is facilitating and supporting a genocide. Not just that, it's also overseeing a horrific set of policies, austerity policies, that are damaging everyone's lives in Britain." The Tory MP then asked, "So you have no view on Hamas and no message for Hamas? Do you believe Israel has a right to exist?" Ms Lali replied, "What is your message to the majority of people in Britain who hate and Tories, who hate you specifically?" At that point, host Patrick Christys cut in and called on the student to answer Mrs Braverman's question. Ms Lali said, "You're asking the wrong questions to distract from the central point that I was making, which is the reason you don't like these student protesters and encampments. 1, is because they've already brought you down and, 2, because of what it represents, which is a growing movement in this country which is against the Tories and any main Mrs Braverman pointed out the protests have posters and placards about Israel, Palestine, and Gaza, adding, "Would you say Israel has a right to defend itself?"